Hi, welcome to Electrically Constructed. I'm Master Electrician Seth Eckel, and this is our first video of our box fill calculation series. After this series, you should be able to understand how to read the tables in Article 314.16, and you should be able to read all the code rules and be able to apply them to box fill calculations. This is the first video on this channel, so I just want to go over how everything works on this channel. We are going to be doing code calculations based on the 2026 NEC. And I'm going to break down the code calculations in short, easy to follow videos. I'm going to put those videos in order on this channel so that they're easy to find, labeled clearly, and you can go back and reference them whenever you want. You can watch one video at a time, or you can stream all the way through and watch the whole series of the code calculations if that's what you want to do. I will have challenge questions every now and then in videos, and I will also have a reference on the bio where you can order a code book if you don't have a code book of your own already. All right, this video we are going to be covering table 314.16a. So if you have a code book, it's going to help out a lot if you use it, so you can pull it out and let's get going. All right, let's open our code book to table 314.16a, metal boxes. But before we get started, I just want to talk about real quick what this code rule is going over. So this code rule is dealing with wires 6 gauge and smaller. Wires 4 gauge and larger are going to be looked at in a different code rule. This rule is for devices and junction boxes, and we're sizing these devices and junction boxes for everything that's going inside of them. So we can place all the different devices and all the equipment that goes in these boxes. We have to do it according to the code book so that everything is safe. We are going to be going over each rule throughout this series, but today we're going to be focused on table 314.16a. All right, so let's highlight that right away. Okay, and we have our first column here, box trade size. Let's highlight that. Okay, in the next column we have minimum volume. So the minimum volume is going to be talking about how much volume is in each box. So like right here, our first box, the round octagon, tells us there's 12.5 cubic inches of volume inside of a 4-inch by 1 1/4 inch round octagon box. Right, and in the next column over, we have maximum number of conductors arranged by the gauge size, American wire gauge size. All right, so what you're looking at here in the first column is telling us the box size, the type of box. The second column tells you the volume that's in that box. And in the third column, it's giving us the wire sizes, 18 gauge, 16 gauge, 14, all the way down to 6 gauge wire. And then it tells us how many wires can fit inside these boxes. So if all the wires were the same size in a box, you can go to this table and apply this table to sizing your box. So for instance, if I had all 12 gauge wires going into octagon box, I could put up to 5 12 gauge wires in this 4-inch by 1.25 inch round octagon box. All right, let's go ahead and start highlighting these lines here, these rows. This is going to help us later on. All right, and let's do every other row. Makes it easier for it to pop out when we're looking for answers later. You can see this row here. This is going to be our let's see, this is going to be our square boxes. These are the 4-inch square boxes. The next rows are going to be our 4 11/16 square boxes. And then we have our device boxes, and these are the 3-inch device boxes, and you can see underneath that we have our 4-inch device boxes, our masonry boxes, and our FS and FD boxes. So let's just continue highlighting them every other row. All right, so once you're done highlighting your code book, let's start looking at these boxes.
Okay, so let's go a little bit further into what this table actually is. So it's telling us what type of box we have, the size of the box, the type of the box, and how much volume that box has. So let's look at this octagon box here. So here's a round octagon box right here, 4 square by 1.25 inches deep, and it has 12.5 cubic inches of volume. Now what this table is telling us on this side is the number of conductors that will fit in that box. So as we go through this series and you learn how to calculate all the different things that are going into the box, this table is a really quick and easy table to use if everything that goes in that box is the same size. So if I have all 12 gauge wires in this box, I can fit up to 5 12 gauge conductor volumes in this box. It's going to make more sense as we go through this series and you start to learn how to apply conductor volume to the devices and clamps and other items that are going into the box. But right now, this is how this table is used. If everything is 12 gauge, 10 gauge, 8 gauge, if it's all the same size wire entering a box, then you can use this table and you don't have to do any calculations. But as we get into it and we start adding different size, say we're running number 14 gauge wires and number 12 gauge wires into a junction box or a device box, then we have to start using our code calculations to find out what size box we can legally use to put all those pieces of equipment in safely. All right, so let's go down and just kind of show some examples of the different boxes. So I showed you the 4 square by 1.25 inch octagon box. Then we have a little bit deeper 4 square octagon box here. This is a 2 1/8 deep octagon box. Then we go to our 4 square boxes. Very common box we use in the field right here. 4 square box. This one is 2 1/8 deep as well. So if I were to use this one, I would have 30.3 cubic inches of volume allowed into this box here. Then we go to the 4 11/16 boxes. I have one of those right here. And see, this one is also 2 1/8 deep, but you can see how much bigger this 4 11 is than the 4 square box. So when you look at it, you can fit quite a bit more volume into this 4 11 box than you can in the 4 square box. 42 cubic inches of volume you can actually fit into that box, into this box. All right. So we go down, we have our 3-inch device boxes. So when you say 3-inch, they're talking about the height of the device box. So 3-inch tall by 2 inches wide, and then the depths change on all of these. What you notice about the 3-inch device box is that the mounting ears for the device is on the outside of the box. Where when we go down, we get to the 4-inch device box next, and you'll notice that the mounting ears are pointed down into the box. So that's one of the differences, besides the volume, which is going to change quite a bit as well. Because when you have a 4-inch box, your volume's going to go up. So you got, say here, 4-inch by 2 1/8 deep. That gives you 14.5 cubic inches. And then when you have the 3-inch by 2 1/4, which is a little bit deeper, you only have 10.5 cubic inches. All right. And let's see if we can keep going. Let's see, we have our mason boxes. I got a 3-gang mason box here. it is also different with the height. The mason boxes are 3 3/4 inches tall, but the mounting ears for the devices are also pointed down into the box. This one's not on the table, so you might ask, how do I know how much volume's in this one? Well, it's stamped on the inside of the box here. This one is 67.3 cubic inches, so quite a bit of space inside this 3-gang mason box here. All right, keep going. We have our FS and FD boxes. I have a FS box right here. If you happen to have a FS or FD box with these sizes that the table shows, you can use the volume that the table gives us, or a lot of these have it stamped on the inside of the box as well. All right, and the same thing is going to go for your residential boxes. You're not going to find your residential boxes on here, so you're going to find out that your residential boxes have a stamp on them telling you how much volume is allowed inside of them. What's also cool about a lot of residential boxes, they will have a miniature version of this table stamped on the inside too, telling you how many, if you're just running 12 gauge, 10 gauge, 14 gauge wires into these boxes, it gives you a little quick chart of how many you would be able to fit inside the box if that was the only size that you're running into that box. All right, so that is how this table works. So I will ask one quick question here. If I had, let's say 14 gauge wires in a 4 square box, what size 4 square box can I use? All right, the answer is I would need to use a 4 square by 2 1/8 deep box. If I don't have anything else attached to this box, no mud rings, no extension rings, I would have to use the 4 square by 2 1/8 deep box with 30.3 cubic inches. We don't even need to know that because this chart right here tells us if I had 14 gauge wires, I can fit 15 inside this box. All right, and that's how this table works. We're going to build on this in the next few videos. This table is used for the whole series, so we will definitely be coming back to it and going over it a little bit in each video. All right, in the next video we are going to be going over table 314.16b4. That's going to tell us how much volume each size wire gives us and how we start to apply that to this table. All right, so thank you for joining me in my first video of this channel. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back. All right, never stop learning, and God bless. Can't wait to see you in the next video.